I studied radio and TV there, went in the Army for a couple of years, came back, worked in Shelbyville. My good friend Doug Zink, with whom I had attended Butler University, called me one day and said, Mike Ahern, you all remember Channel 8's Mike Ahern? You're nodding. Mike was fresh out of Notre Dame, and I think that year we beat him in basketball, I'm not sure. But, anyway, Mike had made a decision to go in the Army. He wanted to get his military behind him before he got really started his career. And in those days, they had a 6 months active duty program and then 6 years of active reserves. He chose to do that program. So Doug Zink called me and said, Mike is going to be gone for 6 months. Would you be interested in coming up here and replacing him in the news department at WIRE 1430? There were no FM stations in those days. Many of you that are young probably don't think FM's been there forever. Is there anybody here that's young? young, that young. But anyway, so I said, yeah, and my thinking was that if I could get back to Indianapolis and the station would not keep me, you okay? Is that better for you? Okay, good. That's cool. Thank you. You want to watch that? I'll step out over here. I flirt with you girls. But anyway, he said, if you would, I thought if I got back to Indianapolis, at least I might have an opportunity to hook up with another station. In those days, there were 5 AM radio stations. There was WXLW 950, WIBC 1070, WFBM 1260, who also owned Channel 6, Wish Radio, WISH 1310, which ultimately owned Channel 8, and WIRE 1430. And our morning guy was a real celebrity in Indianapolis for many, many years. Uncle Wally Nairling was his name. So I was at WIRE 1430. And Mike came back, well, I don't want to get ahead of my story here. That was February to August he was going to be gone. In April, I got a phone call from Sid Collins. Now, I had never met Sid Collins in my life, but everybody knew who he was because at that point, the 500 radio network was 10 years old. It started in 1952 as an official network. And he called, and I thought, gee, Sid Collins wants to talk to me. I don't even know the guy. I wonder what he wants. Well, very simply, he said, as you know, Mike is going to be gone this year. I've heard you do news. I've heard you do sports, play-by-play. And I understand you're a racing fan. Would you care to fill in for Mike this year? I said, yeah, sure, I would love to do that. Well, I filled in for Mike that year and stayed for 40 more. Okay, so very simply, this is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. These are all the things that would fit inside the track. This is the Vatican, right there. This is Wimbledon. This is the Roman Coliseum. This is Yankee Stadium. This is the Rose Bowl, and this is the Kentucky Derby track down in Louisville. All that will fit inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Isn't that amazing? As Donald Davidson said one time, and he's the official historian of the Speedway, I started to talk about this a while ago. The Colts got here in the middle of a winter night, you know, in Mayflower moving vans. I was fortunate enough when I was working at Channel 6 to attend the first tryout camp the Pacers ever had. This is the 125th year for the Indianapolis Indians. They said, folks, you got to remember this. You better embrace the Speedway. Why? Remember, they never asked you to build a stadium or a grandstand or anything like that. They've never threatened to move out of town if you don't do it. And they've always built everything with their own money. And you can't move a 2.5 mile track. That makes sense? It makes sense to me. Some of the things about the driver's suits are neat. Now, safety has always been a primary thing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In the beginning, well, it's not, no, not in the beginning, but early in the racing, this was a typical driver's suit. Now, this one, well, people always ask, who are your favorite drivers? A.J. Foyt. In spite of his weaknesses and problems and so forth, he was a terrific race driver. And if I didn't know better, I'd think Tony Stewart was his son. Tony is just like him. But this is made out of cotton. It was made by Hinchman in Indianapolis, they made driver suits for virtually everybody. This is some early Nomex. This is a driver suit of the late Rich Vogler, who ran in 400s. He ran for Jonathan Bird. They ran the Jonathan Bird Cafeteria Ryan Heating Specials. This is a driver suit, and it's very heavy compared to this. The Nomex is good for about 90 seconds. You get hot, but it won't burn. And it's good for about 90 seconds. And these straps up here, if you didn't ever notice them on there, they're held down by Velcro. That's when the guy gets up like in a sprint car, the rescue people will straddle the fuel tank on the back of the driver sitting here, and they grab a hold of these and pull them out. So it really handles. A lot of people don't know those are on there. And it's pretty heavy. He was using this, I'm sure he drove it at the Speedway, or at the Speedway sometimes, but it was one he drove mostly when he was driving for Siebert Oldsmobile in Shelbyville, driving a sprint car. This is the Nomex underwear they wear. Chip Ganassi does not know I have this. But the bad sad part is it makes you a target. That's not a plug for the stores either. Bingo. Incidentally, aren't you glad they got that guy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yes! Hey, call him what right now. This is the exterior material, Nomex. Now, I understand that DuPont, this is a DuPont product, that they sold the patent, and Bill Simpson, who was a guy that developed a lot of helmets, he's always been involved in safety. He was the guy that first came up with the parachute to slow down drag racing cars, if you've ever seen that on TV. He now owns the rights to Nomex. I don't know if DuPont just got out or if they have a new product or whatever. But anyway, that's regular Nomex. You'll see Elio Castroneves or any of the guys, Penske guys, they usually have red. Target guys have red suits. That's the material. Okay. Gloves, yep, here they are. No skin palms, Nomex on the back. These were made by Bill Simpson. Very soft. And they, of course, pull up their hide, so they'll pull up over the cuff, try to protect their wrists from burning. Okay? Makes sense.